Happiness is an attitude of mind, born of the simple determination to be happy under all outward circumstances. Happiness lies not in things, nor in outer attainments. It is the gold of our inner nature, buried beneath the mud of outward sense cravings. When you know that nothing outside you can affect you, no disappointment, no failure, no misunderstanding from others, then you will know that you have found true happiness. Resolve strongly to keep this flame burning ever in your heart. And let's affirm together, I vow from today onwards, to be happy under every circumstance. I came from God's joy. I am joy. I vow from today onwards, to be happy under every circumstance. I came from God's joy. I am joy. A little quieter, I vow from today onwards to be happy under every circumstance. I came from God's joy. I am joy. And whispering, I vow from today onwards to be happy under every circumstance. I came from God's joy. I am joy. And silently, I vow from today onwards to be happy under every circumstance. I came from God's joy. I am joy. And please pray with me silently. O Lord of joy, fill me with boundless happiness, for I am thy child, made in thy blissful image. As thou art joy, so also in my inner self am I. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday Satsang. This is a reading from the Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. This is called, Is God Present Even There Where There Is Ignorance? Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your eternal self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. The Gospel of St. John, chapter 1, makes a reference to the divine light that is obscure to the rational faculty, but that enlightens our higher nature. The light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Reason recoils from this statement with innumerable questions. What is this darkness? Is it conscious that it should comprehend anything? What sort of light would be capable of shining in darkness without transforming at least that part of the darkness in which it shines into light? Does this light shine only at night? And if so, why only then? The solution is that to divine sight, even daylight seems darkness. The sun itself, like the moon which shines only by reflected light from the sun, is but a reflection of the cosmic light, which being immaterial is invisible to the eyes, by which is the great source of all material reality. In Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda describes his youthful visit to Ram Gopal, the sleepless saint, who lived in the vision of that hidden light. Around midnight, Yogananda wrote, Ram Gopal fell into silence, and I lay down on my blankets. Closing my eyes, I saw flashes of lightning. The vast space within me was a chamber of molten light. I opened my eyes and observed the same dazzling radiance. The room became a part of the infinite vault, which I beheld with interior vision. Why don't you go to sleep? Sir, how can I sleep in the presence of lightning, blazing, whether my eyes are shut or open. You are blessed to have this experience. The spiritual radiations are not easily seen. The saint added a few words of affection. This is the light that shineth in darkness. It has been described variously in the great scriptures in the Bhagavad Gita. The devotee Arjuna is given an experience of the infinite state and exclaims in awe, if there should rise suddenly within the skies sunburst of 1,000 suns, flooding earth with beams undreamed of, then might be that Holy One's majesty and radiance dreamed of. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. And this is a reading from Whispers from Eternity, a book of poems and prayers by Paramahansa Yogananda. Demand to set fire to the forest of darkness. I built a fire of devotion in the dark forest of delusion. Alas, the fire only smoldered. Then thou didst come and set fire to a few of my frailties. That fire quickly spread, consuming the bushes of my prickly desires, my tall, towering vanities, and the thick underbrush of my arrogance. The whole forest of my darkness is blazing, and I behold only thy light shining everywhere. I thank thee, Father, for thy help. Help me thus always. Let me open a path of light for all to follow. And this is one more reading from the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. Lahiri Mahashaya left this world shortly after I had entered it. His picture in an anort frame always graced our family altar in the various cities to which Father was transferred by his office. Many a morning and evening found Mother and me meditating before an improvised shrine, offering flowers dipped in fragrant sandalwood paste. With frankincense and myrrh, as well as our united devotions, we honored the divinity which has found full expression in Lahiri Mahashaya. His picture had a surpassing influence over my life. As I grew, the thought of the Master grew with me. In meditation, I would often see his photographic image emerge from its small frame and, taking a living form, sit before me. When I attempted to touch the feet of his luminous body, it would change and again become the picture. As childhood slipped into boyhood, I found Lahiri Mahashaya transformed in my mind from a little image cribbed in a frame to a living, enlightening presence. I frequently prayed to him in moments of trial or confusion, finding within me his solacing direction. At first I grieved because he was no longer physically living. As I began to discover his secret omnipresence, I lamented no more. He had often written to those of his disciples who were over-anxious to see him, "Why come to view my bones and flesh when I am ever within range of your spiritual sight?" I was blessed about the age of 8 with the wonderful healing through the photograph of Lahiri Mahashaya. This experience gave intensification to my love. While at our family estate in Ichapur, Bengal, I was stricken with Asiatic cholera. My life was despaired of. The doctors could do nothing. At my bedside, Mother frantically motioned me to look at Lahiri Mahashaya's picture on the wall above my head. Bow to him mentally. She knew I was too feeble even to lift my hands in salutation. If you really show your devotion and inwardly kneel before him, your life will be spared. I gazed at his photograph and saw there a blinding light enveloping my body and the entire room. My nausea and other uncontrollable symptoms disappeared. I was well. At once, I felt strong enough to bend over and touch Mother's feet in appreciation of her immeasurable faith in her guru. Mother pressed her head repeatedly against the little picture. O omnipresent Master, I thank thee that thy light hath healed my son. it's such a wonderful thought, and one that most of us, I fear, perhaps think it's a myth or something in our imagination or something that we've read. But it's a wonderful thought to believe and to have faith in that we are made of light, that the light is all around us, that the light is within us, that the light is there in an instant when we need healing, when we need help, when we are in joy, when we are in bliss. The light is who we are. We have come from that light, and we will never be gone from that light, because that light is God, and we've come from God, and we're never separate from God. We're part of God. And so this journey of the soul is a beautiful one, but there's the thought of you, of me, the individual thought goes out from God, His pure consciousness, and He creates us in His love, in His light. And we're just a beam of light. We're a thought. That's all, just a thought. We're a thought of who we are as a soul. Then, around that thought, there's energy that starts surrounding that thought. And that energy is the astral world. We're in the astral world then. We're in a little less pure consciousness, but still of light. We are still of light. We are there. Our individuality, our soul, is in the astral world. Then, Master said there's a spark in the astral world when the sperm and ovum come together and we're conceived, and then we are born into a physical body. The physical body is a direct, absolute copy of the astral body. The astral body is encompassing that thought of us, and the thought of us is encompassing that light. And so here we are in the physical body. Here we are. And the light is still very present when you're born, because you're still traveling to the astral world and back again in the womb. Master said you're still there in the astral world and you haven't quite settled into the physical body yet. So then when you're born, even for a few months, days, months, and years, you're still going into the astral world and coming back into your physical body. You're still experiencing yourself as light. You know you're light. Your soul knows you're light. But then the physical world and the karma kicks in, and then we forget. Master said the whole spiritual path is about smriti, memory. We're trying to remember who we are. We're trying to retrace our steps so that we can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are that light. But the light is dimmed, the light is encompassed in our karma. And then we grow up, sort of. That's what they call it. The other's the grown-up, this is the children, without the wisdom. But the life takes us away from ourselves. You know, our family starts taking us away, our experiences, our karma, it comes in. We grow up, we go to school. All of our attention, all of our mind and our soul is on this physical world. And so the light is forgotten. We don't even think about the light. Now we're thinking about how to make it in this physical world. And we're young and enthusiastic and we have energy and we want to make a mark and we want to succeed and we want to do what our parents want us to do and we want to make we want to be successful in this world. So we go for it. We have energy. We go for it. And all the while that light is burning inside of our souls, forgotten by us. But the light has not forgotten us. And so we live our life. And then slowly but surely, this physical world, all the success, all of the achievements, all of the desires that we've striven for over our lives, all of those start receding. And the success maybe becomes a failure. Maybe that happiness becomes sadness. Maybe that perfect marriage doesn't turn out to be so perfect. Maybe the bank account that was so full doesn't turn out to be so full in your later years. There's always that balance the highs and the lows, but inside that light is steady, and it never, never diminishes, and it's always guiding you if we pay attention. And so the only way we pay attention is through suffering, because we whine and cry like little babies. So, oh, that didn't work out. Well, this isn't right, and why is it this way? And I wanted it to be this way, and it didn't turn out. And so we get very disappointed. And so the world then, at that point, because of suffering, maybe our health becomes maybe it becomes ill. Maybe we become ill. Maybe all the things that we thought were so wonderful, they start disintegrating. And then you get older and older, and at the end of your life, you're just kind of depressed, and you think, what was that about? What was I trying to do? Where was I going? Well, what we were trying to do was to be in that light that created us, that's inside of us. What we were trying to do is to experience that ecstasy that we had when we were born. Before we were born, that bliss that we felt, that joy when we were children. Do you remember when we were children? It's really good to remember when you were a child, to go back. I remember loving to be outside as a little girl, just loving to be outside. We have a big field in the back of our house where I was growing up with really tall grass and lots of yellow flowers. And I would go there and I would just sit in that tall grass and just stare at the sky for hours. I just wanted to be there. I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to be with my family. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to be there. That feeling of calmness, security, love that came over me when I was in nature. But I was a little girl. And that hasn't faded, that desire, if I think about it. But that's not how I couldn't just stay in that field all my life. Swami said that when he was a young child, he used to sit under a table and put blankets over the table, and the sun would come in through the cracks and the material and make beautiful, colorful lights on the blankets, and the lights would dance, and he would just be in heaven, and he would just stay under that table for hours experiencing the astral world, where he remembered, where his soul remembered. So when we're children, we're innocent. We're filled with love. We're filled with joy. The little children that are doing the Sunday school now, they're filled with joy. Why is it? Are they filled with joy? Because now they're being guided. They're being guided to look at that light, to see themselves as light, to maybe sit still for a minute. Maybe they're experiencing something they hadn't before. They're starting to feel, because they're closer to that experience, they're starting to feel that they are a part of something greater. That's what children have, but they lose it. We lose it as we go on into this world. But we don't have to, because it's just like that story I read from the autobiography of a yogi. Master's mother was an adult, but every day she and her son sat before the picture of the guru and offered flowers and lit a candle and sat at the guru's feet and prayed and meditated every day. Master remembers that. That was his mother. She was an adult. That's what she did. And when she needed it, when her son was dying, she wasn't unusual for her to pray to the picture. She had done it every day of her life. And so it was part of who she was. And so she took the picture off the wall. And she said, "Heal my son," knowing that he would, that Lahiri Mahashaya would. Why would she do it if she thought it wouldn't work? And boom, a flash of light. Just like that. And instantly Yogananda was healed. That's a true story. And that's an example of how we should live our lives, every day of our lives. Because that light is there constantly, permanently guiding us, always wanting us to come home and doing everything it can. The only thing that's preventing us from that, from experiencing that light within and around us, is our attention. Such a simple thing. Master said we come back to this world because of desire. If our desire is for God, then God will manifest himself to us, because every single desire has to be satisfied. That one in particular. So that's what we want. We want the desire of God union. We want the desire of that light. We want the desire of that unconditional divine love. Keep that burning. It's there. And how do we keep it burning? It's not easy in this world, the way it's set up today and the way we've been trained to keep that devotion foremost in our hearts and our minds all the time. It's not easy. We're pulled away, and our mind is now habitually sedated by this world. It's like we're addicted to the world now. So what do we do when we're addicted? Well, we go to a hospital and we cut ourselves off from the addiction, from alcohol, from drugs, from whatever it is. We cut ourselves off and we create a new habit. That's what we do. Master said, in order to get rid of an addiction, create a new habit. And that new habit, give it all of your love and attention and energy, and pretty soon that old habit will fade away. Don't concentrate on the habit, the bad habit. Concentrate on the new energy that's coming into your life. That's what we have to do. We're addicted to the world and what do people think and our success and what's it going to be like for me and me and mine and I. We're addicted to, the ego's addicted. So we create a new energy in our life. The energy of divine love, the energy of devotion, the energy of meditation, the energy of the science of going inside and being able to remember who we really are and see that light within. It's there. And people all over, at least the people I've talked to, and all of the saints, and everybody that has experienced that light within through deep meditation and selfless service, say there's nothing like it and they'll never go back to the old way. They'll never go back to the world. Why? They have everything they need within. And you begin to really feel that you are part of something so much greater. And the ego becomes transformed. You become transformed because that desire becomes the driving force in your life. All the other desires are diminished. That addiction goes to this world and you become addicted to God. Because how can you not, when God is pure love, when that light is omnipresent, all healing, that beautiful light of God, how can you not become addicted? And then you realize through deeper and deeper meditation and longer meditation and more selfless service where you don't think of yourself, and those acts of kindness and compassion in your life, those touches of light, those things make you want to do nothing more than to live for God. And living for God is martyrdom. Martyrdom of what? Martyrdom of the ego. Martyrdom of the little self. And so that little self goes away. Look at the faces. I talked a little bit about this yesterday because of Swami's face, but the faces of the saints. You look at that picture of Yogananda, and it just takes your breath away if you really meditate on it. The light coming through. The light coming through Babaji. The light coming through Lahiri, Sri Yukteswar, Ramakrishna, Buddha, everybody, Shankarya, all the saints. The light, it's there. And why is it so manifest in their faces and their lives? Because that's who they have become, and the ego is gone, and their desire is to only be in that light. All of their actions reflect that light. All of their words, all of their deeds, everything reflect that light. And we can achieve that on this path through Kriya Yoga. We can achieve it through discipline of meditating every single day, even when you don't want to, even when you're tired, even when the world has gotten you in whatever way it does, through the TV or the phone or relatives or life or whatever takes us away. We all know what it is, our negative thoughts, our depressions. But if you can focus, even for a few minutes a day, on that inner light, and maybe you don't see the light, but Master assures us it's the light right behind the darkness. And then when that light manifests, that darkness disappears, and it's as if the darkness had never been. The light comes into your consciousness, and it's not as if it's a foreign experience. It's like, oh, you're home. I know this. It's like, this is real. This is who I am. This is part of me. This is actually my soul. This is not just something I'm reading about in a book. This is real. This is what I am. And then you realize, wow, I've wasted so much time. I've wasted so much time. But it's okay, because everybody's karma, spiritual karma, is different, and Master is guiding us all. And he knows exactly what karma we need to be able to turn to the light. It's the only reason he gives us suffering and tests and disillusionment and all of that. It's just so we'll turn toward the light. That's the only motivation for the Guru. He is the dispeller of darkness. The dispeller of darkness. And what darkness is that? That's the darkness of our soul. Years and incarnations of living in the darkness. The Guru arrives, there's the light, he comes, and you realize you're one with God. We are one with God. And so through Kriya Yoga, we reverse our steps, we go inside, we pull away from this world, pull away from the astral world, go inside, pull away from even the thought of you, and you melt into God. Oneness with God. You're there for eternity. Master said you never have to come out again. Some people come out, some souls to help, but you don't have to. If you have that strong desire, Master did. He said he'd come back 1 trillion times. 1 trillion times if one stray brother is left by the wayside. He has that compassion, that love for mankind. So he'll come back. But he's our dispeller of light. They all are. Turn to the Guru, like Master's mother. Look at the picture at night before you go to bed. Offer flowers. Light a candle. Everywhere you go, you're taking that light with you. All we have to do in this lifetime is make that light the most important thing in our life. What we want more than anything. And then you'll see your life will change. Honestly, it will change. Because the people around you will become light. You'll get support that you need to bring that light into the world. All of a sudden you have Guru Bhais. All of a sudden you have a spiritual family. Where'd that come from? You didn't have it 10 years ago. Where'd it come from? It came from you wanting the light. And we always get what we want. So all of these things in our life are gifts. They're gifts of Divine Mother. And they should be recognized as such and received in humility. And then shared with everyone in our life, because every single person on this earth, every soul we've ever touched since our incarnation, every soul from the beginning of time is a child of God. And they all are from the light. We're all made of light. Some people are awake, some people aren't. And so we're dimly awake. But through Kriya Yoga and the Gurus and the light and the support of our spiritual family and prayer, we become more and more aware and awake and ready to share that light. And the more you share, the more you receive. It's like a formula that never, ever, ever fails. So the light isn't like the light. I remember an electric light, my sister and I shared a bed. And I'm from a family of 7 kids, and so my mom put us into any bed she could find, so I shared with my sister. And I was really afraid of the dark when I was growing up. I didn't like the dark. My sister did not. She was not afraid of the dark. So as soon as my sister would go to sleep, she would just go to sleep, I'd turn on the light. And she would, oh my God, we had so many fights. She would just, what are you doing? And blah, 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 why are you turning the light on? And then I would say, I don't want the light off, I'm scared. She said, you're just such a baby. And so then she would go back to sleep. I would turn the light on. I did it all night long. And it's sort of a metaphor. I just wanted the light. I hated the dark. I didn't like dark. I wanted to see everything, and I wanted to make sure my parents were in the next room, and, I just needed that. But that's what we need. We need the light. We need the light to get rid of our fears, to get rid of that part of our life that is not working. We need the light. So we need to switch it on. And you switch it on through Kriya Yoga. And you switch it on through calling on the Guru. And he will come. And he will help you. And that light will be it will go away. And the world, like my sister, will say, oh, you're such a baby, why don't you do this, and what's the spiritual life about, and don't go there, and blah, blah, blah. Because they're used to the darkness, but you're not used to it anymore. We're not used to it, the darkness. We want the light. We want God. We want Divine Mother. So be firm in your conviction. Be firm in your desire. And know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that that light is you. And meditate deeply. And try to feel that light. Might not come as a light, but you'll hear sounds in meditation. That's light. You'll feel different aspects of God in meditation. Compassion, kindness, love, joy, bliss. That's light. When you're helping somebody, you'll feel their response as gratefulness and gratitude. That's light. So it's all light. We're all light. Live in that light. And you will see very quickly, that your life will be transformed. And you will be a shining beacon of light for all those who come into your world. So God bless you.